You know, one could almost argue that the game here is a foot game, an imitation foot game, or the foot is real. The game is an imitation of a foot, or is it the foot's imitation of a game about a foot that is on? What was my point again?
Sometimes it is the people who no one imagines anything of who do the things that no one can imagine.
To start us off, I love that this movie came out the same year as American Sniper, and they're both up for Best Picture. Both films are about war heroes, played by actors up for Best Leading Man, and they're so starkly different, yet similar, it's astounding. Where American Sniper obviously was not interested in exploring what happened to Chris Kyle after he retired, The Imitation Game delves deep into how Alan Turing was treated by the British legal system post-World War II, and the role it played in his eventual death. Both movies also skip showing the death of its lead, and while that bugged me in Sniper because it felt like the movie had nothing to say about the tragic way in which Chris Kyle died, simply that it was sad does not count, The Imitation Game, though, showed its opinions on both the way Turing was treated and also an opinion on bigotry in this context and time. So while in Sniper it feels like a missed opportunity to inject opinion, commentary, and purpose, in The Imitation Game the storytellers had already done their jobs, so the text over narration about his death of an ending felt earned. Guys, this movie, it's just so bloody good! Every actor turns in a powerhouse performance, the story has balls and jumps right into the controversial aspects of Turing's story headfirst, and it shows war in a way that I have never seen before. I'm not saying no one has ever portrayed war in such a statistical or analytical way, just that I've never seen it before. But I've rambled enough. Let's really get into this thing. The Imitation Game is about the life and struggles of Alan Turing, an English mathematician who helped the Allies defeat the Germans in World War II. And I'm not exaggerating that. Without Turing's efforts to crack the Germans' encrypted radio communications, it's theorized that the war would have lasted for 2 or more years and 14 million or more people could have died. That was Turing's life's work, cracking the unbeatable Enigma machine. He of course had help, but the whole project was his baby. And the movie is also about how Turing was, well, gay. And what that was like in the first half of the 20th century. Which was of course terrible. In fact, if you were found to be gay, it was illegal and punishable by jail time or worse. So, as Turing was struggling to basically win the war for the Allies and paving the way for all kinds of technological advancements we take for granted today, he lived every day terrified people would find out his factory preset sexual preference. You know what, guys? Actually, one of the little subplots, which is about a young Alan Turing and a young man named Christopher having a cute little school romance, is one of the most adorable and charming and emotionally resonant things I saw from 2014. And in addition to being a great subplot, the school this little couple is having their little romantic tryst at looks just like bloody Hogwarts! I could be wrong, but it looks just like it! I mean, oh my god, I was just nerdgasming in the theater as I was watching all this happening in Hogwarts! Harry Potter and Sherlock fanfiction writers, go nuts! Nerdy detours aside, this movie has some serious gut punches. And there's one in particular that I really want to talk about so badly, but it's a spoiler, and I don't want to be the guy that spoiled it. And you know, it's true that if you know your history, or if you've even seen Sherlock season 2, you know what's coming, or at least you'll see it coming when it's building to it. But if you're not one of those people, I don't want to spoil it for you. I saw it coming, and it still worked for me because it was such a powerful, just gut-punching, wrenching moment of just, I can't even understand how people could go through that, like how they can make the decisions that Alan Turing and his company had to make at this moment in time with what was going on in the world, how they were able to bear that cross, so to say, and keep going about their lives. It's incredible. But I'm not spoiling it. True, I did give away that he dies, but this is from World War II. I think the fact that the guy's dead, I think that cat's out of the bag. But it's not just this movie that's up for awards, no. We got Benedict here, who's up for an Oscar for Best Leading Man, and let me tell you, this This performance is a contender, guys. Benedict is always good. He is. It's saying he's good in a role in a movie is like saying that Guillermo del Toro's practical effects are good. It's a given. Even when the movie Benedict is in is terrible, he brings his A game. His presence and his charisma, they're just off the charts. And despite him having such a strong persona and a unique voice, he somehow makes all of his characters different, distinct. That is no small task. I'll admit I'm a little worried about how often he's typecast as the hyper genius character, but that's the minorest of complaints. This movie is more than worth your time, my friends. It's a story whose telling was way overdue, a haunting portrayal of frighteningly recent homophobia, and its exploration of person-to-person communication is nothing short of thought-provoking. See you on the flippity-floppity.